In 1984, Turkmenistan big band Gunesh released their second of two albums, and while the title has not been translated, the tracks have been, such as this one, which translates to the Oriental Express. I love the kind of time warp factor of this. We have we have a few sounds that harken back to a slightly earlier era, but this, of course, is from a band from Turkmenistan who were based in Moscow by this point in time. Well, hearing like a mix, I'm hearing like some like mid '80s sounds with some like synthesizer sounds a moment ago that harken back to the mid '70s. I like that mixture. You don't hear that kind of mixture much in Western recordings, but like behind the Iron Curtain at the time, you would get kind of this time distortion. You would get there would be elements that were slightly backdated. This mixture of kind of like up to date and slightly backdated in ways that you just wouldn't find in the States or in the UK. What am I hearing? Kind of a synth bass right there. Yeah, that synth bass is just kind of like wiggling around. It's really like sunny brass arrangements that almost like that are somewhat evocative of like 60s era pop. Clavinet. That's something you don't hear on many albums from 1984. Yeah, because as the clavinet had that like kind of greasy sound, that kind of grimy sound, and the mid '80s were all about like austerity. We're all about being real clean, really fastidious, clean, sharp tones and everything. That bass. No, I think I'm actually hearing some real bass now, and it's just like wiggling around too. It's like down on the floor, just like wrestling. I believe I'm hearing two drummers. Oh, it seems like every single like instrument is going to get its turn. Well, I like that sound. Just a second ago, I thought that we were going to hear like some like a guitar moment, but beyond that, just scratching sound we heard. But I like what is that this new like little wiggling sound we got going. Yeah, this is let's see. The only thing stateside that I can maybe compare this to would be the Rascal Reporters. Yeah, just zaniness all over the place, invoking several different eras at once. Slight big band sound, avant-garde. There are too many so many players passed through. Okay, credits. We apparently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 10 people playing on this. The names I can't read. They're in apparently Russian, but let's see. We got bass guitar, guitar, sitar. I heard on this album anyway. Two keyboardists, soprano and alto sax, tenor sax, making two saxophones there, trombone, trumpet, violin, and percussion. It says, huh? Supposedly one percussionist. I swear I was hearing two. I swear I was hearing more than two arms on the. I've never heard a sound like that before anywhere. Oh, now we got some like kind of like sustained sort of the sounds sort of like almost like phased in a way. Maybe like a slow envelope. Now kind of a flute-like sound. The drumming seems to kind of pan from like one speaker to the other. Yeah, I'm hearing also like some spacey sounds being thrown in, these spacey like sustains, like which were being used quite liberally like in electronic music during the late 1970s, but wasn't often incorporated into this like highly rhythmic jazz rock type style. So this is once again kind of in a class of its own. It's like getting to hear several different flavors that you don't often get on the plate simultaneously. Now what was that? There's been just so much density throughout this piece that I've been taken by, that I haven't really even had time to take notice to the actual structure. Like I guess it doesn't really need one. There's just too much to keep you occupied. Oh, like what was like the riff for the what kind of was like the musical theme behind this that held this together? I guess it doesn't really. I'll catch it like some other time. Yeah, that was the Oriental Express by Gunesh, or the Gunesh Ensemble. Yeah, let's see. From, oh, I can't, I don't know how the title translates, but it's the second of their two albums. Bit of history on this band. Gunesh were a Turkmenistanian jazz rock ensemble that existed throughout the 1970s and 80s amid numerous changes in personnel. Formed in Ashgabat in 1970, the project eventually moved to Moscow, where it concluded after 20 years. Between 1980 and 1984, the band released two albums on Melodia. During this time, the band contained ex-members of fellow Turkman maximalist Firayuza. Yeah, that band that put out an album in 1979 where they're all wearing those high furry hats. Yeah, yeah, they're all wearing uniforms. Yeah, good album. Yeah, I think it's like one of those albums, just one big piece per side. Yeah, it's become quite popular on the internet, despite the sonic limitations of the files that have passed around and such. Let's hear another track from this album, "The Rhythms of the of the uh, Caucasus. That sound again, yeah, that kind of clavinet-y type sound. Yeah, the title, the Caucasus, refers to the region. That part of it's a little used regional term in cartography. Well, at least it's not a term I really hear in the media much. But yeah, I always thought that the reason why I just kind of added these bands to the Eastern Europe and like extended the definition slightly is because there are not enough bands from the Middle East that fused their indigenous style with some of the global jazz rock and symphonic rock influences from the time period that made the international music scene so invigorating. Yes. Although it's not like musicians in some of those nations had the liberty to be exploring this kind of music. Basically going from C minor to A flat. Got a lot of wiggly warp sounds going on at once. Let's try and unpack them. Okay, I guess we have a guitar with some weird effect on it. I think it's guitar. And then boom, 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 boom. The bass kind of wiggling around like that. I think it's in 6, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Violin. This actually kind of sounds like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, but something else going on within those bars. I am kind of almost at a loss to try and count some of the inner. Certain instruments are playing again. There are several. I swear meters going on. Maybe like one player is emphasizing a different count than the others. Well, I like how things are coming together on that one. Yeah, the way the bass and the guitar were just converging on that. Yeah, that really like tight, close cadence. now it feels like we've entered a desert. Kind of a droning sound in the background. We've got that violin in the foreground, and then we've got sort of a droning sound that almost. And then we've also got the ocean waves, I guess. Kind of like a in the background. A didgeridoo would sound good right here. Oh, I think I'm hearing like either some vocals or some like choral settings on a synthesizer. Some oh, I'm hearing vocals. It slipped my mind that there were any vocals on this album, actually. Like that tone. Yeah, I like how that raw violin is playing against the sustained kind of drone in the background of those vocals, I guess. I guess these passages could characterize a long travel across great distances in that region. This represents some of the more barren lands. Or like travel across bodies of water. Traveling the Black Sea, perhaps. Using the voice as an instrument is. You know, for a split second there, those last few notes that he sang kind of brought Hocus Pocus to mind by Focus. Okay, now we're back into the fun stuff. Now just like galloping violin, yeah, galloping drums and bass. Wow, really frenzied descent. really hyperactive drums, really kind of soft yet prominent bass. Um, Almost sounds like it could be a synth bass. It's like I'm not really hearing I'm not really feeling the fingers I'm not really feeling the strings as the notes go down. And an unusual guitar sound. That little fiddling that we heard. Now, what are those? Kind of like a slight, kind of like bubbly effect, almost like percussion underwater or something. Yeah, I like this. Yeah, I don't have much to compare this to. Tuneless, like percussion is rarely this entertaining. Let's see, how many am I hearing at the same time? I'm hearing something right here. I'm hearing something right here. I'm hearing kind of like a slight kind of like rattle. Yeah. It's strange that only one person was credited with percussion, although I know that this has got to be like 3 people. And then there's that sound, there's this kind of like metronomic like pulse underneath it all. And now a real drum set, yeah. But the whatever they were using to get those like kind of bubbly, dotty sounds. If that's an electric guitar, they certainly found a pedal to conjure up sort of an ethno sound. Um, it kind of reminds me of the tones that I've heard on some of those Andolan rock albums of the 70s from Turkey, from like those Turkish kind of folk psych bands of the 70s. Oh God, hear the filigree right there, and how it works against the bass. Oh, that violin carrying it out in the drums and that droning sound coming back. Yeah. Yeah, that was the Rhythms of the Caucasus by Gunesh Ensemble. Yeah, the reason I had a hard time pronouncing that word before I played the song was that I guess I'd only come across that regional name a few times, and I guess in my head before I had pronounced it as like the Caucasus or something. Um, yeah, and I would have perhaps looked into making a directory for that region rather than appending it to Eastern Europe. Had there been more musical activity during the 70s and 80s, kind of like in the maximalist kind of rock slash ethno folk world area from places like Azerbaijan, Armenia, Georgia, yeah. Um, but there isn't a whole lot, and in part because they weren't necessarily wasn't necessarily a these weren't necessarily free societies back in during that era. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, two tracks from the Gunesh Ensemble from their second album released in 1984. Yeah, the Rhythms of the Caucasus, and before that, the Oriental Express. For more Rubies and Sapphires from the two Ganesh albums, see the directory of albums, well, from the former Eastern Bloc, linked in the description below. Like and subscribe, follow me on social media, and share the video, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the two tracks we just heard. The instrumentation, the layers, the nuances, the interplay, which solo, which instrument, which, yeah, stood out to you. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear travel trimaximalist, signing off.